so quickly, sincerely. I thought I was just going to be connecting with those who can understand what I'm saying. I didn't expect a lot of people to, to find it sense-making. So I was quite very surprised, too, when I saw that, oh, people are loving these things. You know, I'm talking about things people should be running away from, things people usually run away from. And they are loving it, and they are enjoying it, and they're even asking for more. So I think the reason for that is because it's our time now. We're waking up, really. We're really waking up. And now these pieces of information are now widely available. The social media is now replete with a lot of African contents, you know, and people are beginning to ask questions. If you even look at our political space, you see that the youths have even risen, you know. There's consciousness going on around now. So I think that's just the reason for it.
The breaking point is, so we're tired of what the white man has said and what the white man has
We want to
offer.
go for the truth for our own self, you know. We want to understand these things,
Not what they said
not
about
just
us.
what, because it just takes patience to, realize that these things are not as dark. And that's even if they are dark at all. And the darkness, whatever darkness we can find in it is as a result of the darkness of man, not the actual knowledge you're talking about.
I always say every principle is neutral.
It's neutral.
It's the character of the person engaging in it
that makes it bad or good.
Yeah, nice. So I always say this, that, you know, a nation rises and falls on its identity. What would you say is the African identity? Like when you say I'm an African, what is the identity of an African?
It starts from you being able to speak your language.
That I can't speak my language.
It starts from, you know, because you should be, and if you don't know how to, maybe for reasons of your birth and all that, you should make conscious efforts to want to actually understand. That's where identity starts from. You can't identify yourself as a people of whom you know nothing. You understand? So you want to actually be able to speak your language. It starts from knowing the meaning of your own name. So many people bear names today that they don't know the meaning, and they think these names, I know the meaning is lost and because they're too ancient, and it's not like that. You understand? They are very available. So you should know why you are being named the way you're named. In Yoruba society, for instance, in the Yoruba traditional society, we have a unique way of giving names. A person has a biso, what you call a biso, the one I give to you upon giving you birth. And then there is the one you bring from heaven, a mutonwa, depending on how you were born. Are you born a twin, or did you come with your placenta around your neck? All these kind of things. You know, you have names that are given for children like that. And then we have Oriki. That one is your praise name. You know, we have to give you that. Although there are some Yorubas that don't do it, but majority of all Yoruba ethnic groups give Oriki. That's just the name. The Oriki has a poem attached to it that can use to trace you to your roots. So even when a woman marries in those days, she doesn't change her name as we have it today. And this is not unique to the Yoruba. It's a general thing in Africa. Women don't adopt the names of their husbands upon marriage. They actually, because your name is supposed to be what we use to link you to your roots. So wherever you go, when I hear your name, okay, you are Temitayo, Ajadi Ogbo. Then from there, I know, okay, this is where you're from. This is your father. And that is the African sense of identity. So imagine, I mean, we've lost all that in just a woman now, I mean, assuming her husband's name upon marriage. So she can't mention her name anywhere, and they will trace that to her father. Because that link has been lost.
That's powerful. So Rikis have always been very fascinating for me.
Definitely.
And I found that it was like a whole poem. And I know when people are, when they're giving you, when they're reciting it, and it makes your head swell like this.
Exactly.
I mean, Africa is
Oriki is so beautiful that it's not just, everything has Oriki in Yoruba land. Yeah, everything has Oriki. Towns have Orikis. Human beings have, animals have Oriki. Understand? Oriki is,
like
in
Jago Jago, where I know the name of,
I know the name that this tree bears. It can't harm me because I know its name. You know, things like that.
Beautiful to go African. Okay, so let me poke the bear a bit. The Oni of Ife recently in a conversation stated that all women are witches. I personally agree because I understand what he's saying. So I understand. The audience might not understand. And you being a Yoruba historian and everything, please, can you break it down for us?
The problem with those who misunderstand it is with the kind of, the way we have now made the word Aje so diabolic. You know, we've darkened the meaning of that word in our minds. And so it's a common saying in Yoruba land. When we say Gbogbo Birin Laje, all women are witches. And Aje as a word we use witch, the word witch for it, simply because we don't have There's nothing the European people have that can be that have so much similarities with what we have as in Aje. Aje and witches are not the same things actually, because the word Aje doesn't mean witch. It's Je. The word Je in Yoruba language means to allow something to happen. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n lọlé, allow me go home, let me go home. Orúkọ wo ló ń jẹ́? What name do you answer to? So that is the meaning of that Je. So Aje is he who has the power to let something be.
Of command.
The one who has the powers that be, you know, the one who
And
could.
it's naturally women.
And that is what women do, starting from the birth of everybody in this world. So they actually have the power to make things happen. That is an Aje. That is the meaning of that word. It means just to be powerful. The powerful women. And that's why they are called Iya. Àwọn ìyá mi, Oshoronga, things like that. So, do we have wicked Aje people? Do we have bad people? Yes. And do we have good ones? Yes. So the problem is not with the Aje. Like you said earlier, these things are neutral. So it depends on how good you are or how bad you are. Understand? If you're good, you're going to use it for good. And if you're bad, Aje simply means to be powerful. And when we say all women are witches, that's the sense in which he's using the word.
I think that, you know, with the feminism movement and we women coming to recover our power and understand who we are, I think that's something very powerful knowledge to have as women, that we are powerful, not just biologically to give birth, but also spiritually we're very powerful.
Definitely.
I think women are born with arcane and metaphysical powers.
Even in the traditional, early, in the pre-colonial Yoruba society, the women were in charge of the economy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in the palace.
Are you hearing, German?
in the palace now, for instance, you know, no meeting, no decision can be made without the accent of the Yaloja.
Sorry to cut you. I even hear that in crowning a king like the Oni, there's a stage where
in fact, the bird on the crown signifies the mothers. You know, the kings make expressions like, without the mothers, I cannot rule. You understand? Everything, you know, takes you back to the roots, because they are the roots.
And women are honored at the roots in our
they are always, culture. You understand what I'm saying now? So,
powerful.
Iyalode, Iyaloja, these were the finance ministers.
Wow.
You know, they control the economy. Wow. They attended all the meetings that happened in the palace.
You blow my brain, and I will forget the next question. So traditionalists often hammer on the fact that, and you've also said that in previous conversations we've had, that Ifa, or the African culture generally, goes beyond religion.
Definitely.
It has philosophy, literature, math,
poetry, music,
mathematics, permutations, poetry, music. So, like, break it down for us. Like, you know, what does
it is Ifa? What we call Ifa? It's a corpus. It's a compendium of a body of knowledge. What a people know. And what a people know is not all religion. Religion is just one of the things people engage in. Yeah. There are so many other things that we do, so many other things that we know about. If I include knowledge of medicine, for instance, because we have our Onishegun, who are a branch of the diviners. Not really, we have a Babalawo, who is like, you know, the professor, the all in all. He understands everything. And then all the Onishegun, Ilewi Omo, all these people, you know, the Ilewi Omos, for instance, are the ones who deal with children and pregnant mothers, the pediatricians, you know. And they always have to consult Ifa to seek knowledge. So do you call that religion? A lot of the things we do, how is Ogun appeased, for instance? You know, you use palm oil and iron. Scientifically, how do you lubricate, how do you preserve iron? You have to lubricate it with oil. Yeah. So these people understood some scientific principles, and that is so it is a disservice to just dismiss everything as religion.
Okay.
You understand?
So there's a lot of disdain with, you know, the culture. People mock it, people spit at it, and then there's a group of people who also are excited about it and everything. How people who are excited and then bastardize it, you know. So what's your advice to people who look at it, who look down on it, and people who are taking it and using it for,
all right. First of all, I'll tell people to not even be religious tolerant. You know, have mutual respect for religion, because what you tolerate is something not good enough. You know, something, you know, it's not good enough, so you're just tolerating it now. So even that is derogatory, even that is demeaning. So don't tolerate anybody. You have to have mutual respect for the religion. And when we start from there, we notice that our problems have reduced. And those who are using it for, who have access to some knowledge, and then they're using it for bad reasons and those kind of things, you should just stop doing it. You don't have control over that. People will always
There's
you know,
always going to be good
abuse.
and
You know,
bad
there's going to be
people.
exactly so.
So your Washiri platform now, final question. Your Washiri platform, as you said, you were shocked when you saw a melting point of people from different religions being interested. Do you ever see a point where all religions will come together and have a common ground?
If we have so many people doing what I'm doing now,
True.
and I pray that we get to that level,
True.
you know, it's my joy to see a lot of people doing this kind of thing. If that happens, then definitely we are going to arrive
And I
at
can't wait because
what-
I think that's when we will now reach that point where Africa wants to be on the global
exactly.
map. Thank you so
exactly.
much, Taya.
Yeah, you're welcome.
As in, there's so much to say, but thank you so much for your wealth of knowledge. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm super excited.
You're welcome.
So after this break, we will be joining John and Helen to wrap up the show. Stay tuned.
Okay,
Thanks
John.
for staying with us. Yeah, thanks for staying with us. And this is Today with John and Helen. And I must say that the women again have tipped the scales.
You get
We had a wonderful session with Bam Bam, Chizobam, and I see that conversation favored favored women more than men. And well, anyway, we don't mind. They've said that it's an all-inclusive world. So let's include you in our next segment, which is my nugget. The nugget for those of us who speak publicly, and indeed, that is all of us.
Yeah.
My nugget today is this. If in doubt, visualize, reorganize, then nail it. So the point is this. So many times we go on stage. So many times we have great days, but there are times when you're in doubt. You get up there and nothing seems to work. All right? So those are moments when you are in doubt. You start to question, what am I doing here? All right? So all you need to do is to recalibrate, okay? Visualize again. Like, remember the power of positive thinking. Recalibrate, revisualize while you're there. You know, empower your mind, your mindset. Reorganize your thoughts, okay, and then nail it. So that's my charge to you today. If in doubt, visualize, reorganize, and then nail it.
Wow.
So we hope we've nailed it today.
Yeah, I think we have. And you know why you're going on at that?
Yes.
The normal thing we say in the theater that life is a stage.
Yeah.
You know,
And
was
all
being
the-
ministered to me. So,
Yeah.
so you're not talking to us about public speaking alone.
No.
You're talking to us about life.
Life.
You know, earlier on I was saying to Chizoban that sometimes when I think about the places where I have fallen, I don't see them like I'm regretting, because I now know that I can never fall at
you've
those
learned.
particular places
It's a
anymore.
learning curve.
So is that thing, realizing what you've done, what you need to do, getting yourself back on your feet, and believing that, you know, you can nail it.
You just justified the reason why I'm a speech skills coach and not a public speaking coach.
So you just said that, and I have magnified
You
it.
magnified
know,
it,
just
yes.
it got bigger in my brain, you know, interpretation-wise. She's over.
I mean, I just like the nail it part. Just, I mean,
Nail
just
it.
do it.
Just do it.
Because, you know, nobody wants to live with regrets. Just
And do it better than you did it yesterday.
So that is it for this week. I want to thank you all for being with us. We hope you'll see you again next week on Plus TV Africa.
And we believe that we've got you fired up. 2024 must be our year.
Yes.
Whichever way.
Our
All right,
year.
our year, all of us. Okay, see you again next Saturday. But before then, later this night at 10:30, there's a repeat show, and 9:30 tomorrow morning. Please watch if you missed this first outing. We love you all. Bye now.
I'm out.
I have not come across a blind person who have become sighted. Unfortunately, I've come across too many sighted people who have become blind.
I stood for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, was like, a blind individual writing like this. Even a typical human being cannot do most of what he is doing.
They are pushed aside. They look them as perpetual beggars. And it's not supposed to be. Some of us, we are learned. We don't need pity. We need opportunities. We need encouragement.
A February 2021 report by the World Health Organization says that globally, 2.2 billion people have a visual impairment. Of that number, 64 million people suffer from glaucoma, the leading cause of irreversible blindness in the world. It is projected that by the year 2030, 95.4 million people would suffer from the disease. Being a black person is a risk factor. At Ikeja Junior High School, Lagos, Nigeria, there are 55 steps from one end of the hallway to the other. There are 18 steps down the stairwell and 15 steps between classes. Cyril Ojime counted them all because he needed the figures as well as his white cane to find his way around work.
It's more than the cost price.
Cyril is a 48-year-old visually impaired mathematician. He teaches math here to students with and without hearing disabilities in junior secondary classes 1 to 3. This situation presents a peculiar communication challenge.
Imagine they will do sign language, I cannot see what they are signing. I will talk, they cannot hear what I'm saying. So if they want to talk, I cannot even hear them. They will make noise with it. And it has really been a very difficult situation. How are you today? Fine. I had to learn a little bit of sign language, and that gladdened their heart. They love seeing me making that effort to communicate with them. Unfortunately, they feel, because I cannot see them back, they feel saddened about it, that I'm not seeing them sign back to me, communicating with me in their own way.
Here's where 30-year-old Tawalkat Babatunde comes in.
Take note, it's over the cost price, not the selling price.
She's a sign language specialist at the school. She works with Cyril to coordinate and communicate math lessons to the class.
I'll make sure the class is being arranged. Okay, keep quiet, watch what he's saying, explain. When he's explaining, I'll demonstrate. You do give them classwork and homework. I'll mark it, distribute it to the students. Honestly, the first day we worked together, I stood at just for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, was like, a blind individual writing like this. Even a typical human being cannot do most of what he is doing. So I was amazed.
Cyril Ojime is a 1996 graduate of Pure and Applied Mathematics from the University of Ilorin, Kwara State. He's also an award-winning math and further math teacher with experience spanning 11 different schools in 5 states across Nigeria since 1999. Cyril recalls a childhood experience that motivated him to take up teaching as a career.
I used to have a math teacher. He would just put some problems on the board and I would just be smiling. We would not be able to solve it. So in my mind, I said, I want to be a teacher whereby I will make math to look simpler than what this man is doing.
That resolve made in the early 80s still nudges him to demystify math for children today. However, in 2012, Cyril was diagnosed with glaucoma. This almost puts paid to his life ambition of teaching math.
When I first of all found out 2012, it was like a shock to me. Because as then, in my family, the extended family, we only know for maybe eye issues such as myopia or long distance issue. Then maybe at worst cataracts, but nothing like glaucoma. So it was a surprise to me. And when it started, it was as if it was an insect in my eye that was blurring my vision. So when I was told it was glaucoma, I went to Google it to read more about it. When I learned it was white blindness, I got a bit scared at first. But I said, okay, let me see what can be done.
Dr. Adiola Onokoya is a professor of ophthalmology at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LUTH. She throws some light on Cyril's condition.
Glaucoma is the commonest cause of irreversible blindness. It's a disease of the nerve of the eye. That nerve is like a cable that connects the eyeball to the brain. In glaucoma, what happens is there's some damage, inside the eyeball where you have those nerves originating from that we call the optic nerve. They are damaged. And what damages them? Well, it's either there isn't enough blood flowing into them, or because there's a lot of pressure inside the eye. And once those cells in the eye die, even the eye is opened, is looking at whatever object, but there is no connection. There's a disconnect between what the eye sees and the brain. So the eye looks normal, but no image processing is taking place.
What causes glaucoma and how can it be treated?
Nobody knows the cause. And if the cause of a disease is not known, then there's no cure. It's commoner in blacks than in the Caucasian. There's just an inherent, risk for us to develop glaucoma, being blacks. And then if you have a family history, because genetics is at the basis of glaucoma, really. And then if that pressure is high, that's eye pressure, intraocular pressure, if it's high, and then people who have severe hypertension, people who have very low blood pressure, even people who are using low blood pressure medication but they are overusing it. Management of the glaucoma, we can give eye drops, and if the eye drops are not working well, then you may have to go to surgery. It's a lifelong disease, but suffice is to say that once you have lost vision from glaucoma, it is not recovered.
Cyril was in the prime of his career when glaucoma struck. He was deputy head of the math department, mathematics coordinator, and was vying to be head of senior school before he began to have challenges with his vision. The new reality devastated him. He began to struggle with tasks that were once easy.
Then, to be moving around, it was difficult for me. There are times I would just miss my way when going to the class. I would not really know the right class that I'm going to until I therefore come back and count my steps again. Some of my colleagues will be assisting me in typing, to be marking that I'm going through a phase. And I thank God for my colleagues then who rallied around me to see that I was not failing. Being a private institution, they were not looking at whether you are going through a phase or whether you are going through a medical situation. There was for you to be effective, no matter what it takes. Be effective. Don't go down. Don't relent in your effort. So I was trying to meet up.
He sought medical help in 2012. However, the doctor's strike paralyzed healthcare services for 6 months. In that time, his eyesight worsened.
For 6 months, when they were on strike, I could not get medical attention, and that was when the eyes deteriorated. Thereafter, when they called back the strike, it was a bit late. The pressure in the eyes became very high and uncontrollable. Despite eye drops and medication, it just skyrocketed. If the doctors were on ground, I would have been able to get the proper medical attention on time. I would be able to at least know the right eye drops to take to preserve the vision. And I'll be able to at least, if it was not becoming better, at least the doctors would have been able to refer me to LUTH or even to another institution entirely for me to get proper attention.
Indeed, the lack of a reliable healthcare system in Nigeria does jeopardize the health of citizens. Additionally, glaucoma does not show symptoms. Therefore, Cyril only began to have signs of visual impairment in the advanced stages of the disease.
We usually advise that we should get our eyes tested regularly. Once you are above the age of 35, you should make it a point of duty to get your eyes examined once in 2 years. But if you have a family member who suffers from glaucoma, or you have a family member who is blind, you don't know why, you should check your eyes for glaucoma. So regular eye examination is the way to detect it at the very early stage. And once it is detected, treatment is started, and we can then slow down that rate of progression.
As Cyril's eyesight was deteriorating, his work at Olashere Grammar School in Osun State was failing. In March 2015, he made a decision he never imagined he would take in his early 30s. Cyril Ojemen resigned.
I had to meet the HOD, my supervisor, that look, I cannot continue like this, that I don't want to be a burden to the students, members of staff, and especially my immediate colleagues. It's best for me to quit while the ovation was still loud.
Nothing prepared him for the challenges ahead. He was about to face trying times due to a deteriorating vision and a lack of steady income.
2016 to 2018, I will call those 2 years the worst period of my life. Number one, I stopped going out. 2, feeding myself, my family became difficult. 3, paying for children's school fees stopped. After exhausting my gratuity, nothing was coming in, a lot of expenditure came in, no income. So everything was just dry. And I felt for my children because it was something they never expected, never wanted to experience. My wife did all she could to support, but it was all to no avail. She became more or less like a beggar, asking people around for assistance. Myself, I started calling people, calling my brothers, calling those that I know, those who I don't know, to see what they can do to help me out. I got almost to a stage of depression, but my wife and my children, they stood by me, they encouraged me that it's not over.
Just when the night got darkest, some lights shone through. Cyril got to know of the Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind at Kappa, Oshodi. It's a special rehabilitation center for the blind. He didn't have the funds to enroll for the vocational training course. His friends and family began an online campaign to crowdfund his rehabilitation.
The help started with my classmates, Federal Government College Kano classmates. They came in. At first, they helped with the surgery, but after a while, they stepped back to take care of their own personal issues. But by the time I now raised the voice again in the wilderness to say, please, I need help, they came again, sent 1 or 2 things just to keep body and soul together. My elder brother came in, then ex-students, those that I taught, came in as well, and they rallied around, helped me out until I graduated.
With his fees paid, he began a 1-year process to rehabilitate for his new life.
I did braille reading and writing, did rehabilitation and mobility. Mobility is by means of how you move around without being aided with the use of a white cane. This is a white cane. It's a white cane. You just put it on the ground and you just be feeling around. It guides one, a visually impaired person, to move around freely without any fear of falling down. Then I learned how to operate the computer using keystrokes. My students from Ikeja Junior High School.
E4, 40, E4.
So I'm going through their scores. Gradually, I started getting used again to the laptop, something I felt I could not do again. And what really helped me was the application that was installed in the computer. It's called JAWS, Job Access with Speech. On the phone, we have what's called TalkBack. So that is the way we started using handset and the computer in general. The experience changed my life and my way of seeing life in a new perspective.
In 2019, Cyril graduated as the best student at the rehabilitation school. Thereafter, he enrolled in another course by Sight Savers, an international non-governmental organization dedicated to empowering the visually impaired with digital skills.
Site savers really helped me out in terms of how to replan yourself, how to organize your career, how to work out your CV to make it to be a one-page document, how to prepare for an interview, what kind of questions to expect, how to do follow-up after an interview, then preparing for the work environment, and it gave me that boost and that confidence to be bold, to be self-confident, to be to have that charisma, to have that character, to move on. So Site did that for me.
Despite all this training, he was not quite prepared for the challenge of getting back into the labor market as a person with disability. Luckily, an old connection came through.
The person's name is Mrs. Grace Egbobi. I will be grateful to her. She got in touch with me and said, there's an opening in the public sector. They are looking for a maths teacher, and she's going to submit my name, being that that's my course. And an interview was conducted, and today I was employed. I was posted to Ikeja Junior High School. When I first of all met the principal, Mr. Safiu, he said he's not going to reject me because he sees in me something that will be of benefit to the school.
He gave me a brief interview in my office, and he told me that he will be able to handle mathematics skillfully. So I said, let me give him a try. And since then, I've been watching him. What I noticed about him is that he has great passion for this job. You will never see him coming late to work. He's always front in the class, and he does the work with passion.
I'm happy his decision of accepting me is paying dividends now. And ever since I stepped in here, I've been putting my best, and I believe the best is still yet to come.
Just when he thought getting a job was hard enough, commuting to and from work as a visually impaired man became a tough road to travel.
When I leave the compound, I stay at the gate side. The person that do help us at times, he comes in, he will take me to the bus stop. I will enter a bus going to Oshodi. I will drop at Kappa. From Kappa, I will take a bus coming down to PWD. Drop at PWD. When I get down, God has been faithful. Somebody is always there. They will take me across the railway track and to the other side, bring me over to this side, to the GRA side, drop me at the gate. At times it will be a teacher, a fellow teacher. At times it will be a student. At times just be a passerby who has a measure of kindness in him or her.
This is David Okon, former president of the Nigeria Association of the Blind. He's the current chairman of the association's education committee. Okon was born sighted, but became blind as an infant. Like Cyril, he had a hard time securing a job despite his skills and education. He's now a staunch advocate for equal opportunities for persons with disabilities.
Blind people can work as long as they have the education that is required. They need training like other people. It might be some specialized training, but honestly it doesn't cost the price of a rocket. They need equipment that will make them function appropriately. That might cost a little more than what you give. But every employer should think this way.
Okon also analyzes the role that the Nigerian society has played in perpetuating the belief that persons with disabilities are outcast.
The society is yet to come to terms with the fact that a blind person or a person with disability is a member of the society. Or they see him as that lesser being. You can even hear things like, this handsome man or this beautiful girl or lady is blind. That is just nothing but pity. But are they ready to see you as an equal stakeholder in the society, in the organization, in the workplace, in the school environment, even in the church? The answer is not in the affirmative for now. A blind person would have ordinarily not been so disadvantaged if the society was more enabled. The environment, the road networks was not built with me in mind. And even when the government even did some walkways, pavements that you could walk and not be run down by moving traffic, you find out that that is not possible because the walkways have now become markets. The bike owners, ones we call Okada, park their bikes on top there. And so I now it would then be as if I'm more handicapped than I should be.
Drawing from his personal experience with disability discrimination, Cyril makes a passionate plea for an inclusive society.
Those who have physical disabilities, they are pushed aside. They look them as perpetual beggars. And it's not supposed to be. Some of us, we are learned. We don't need pity. We need opportunities. We need encouragement. Those who are lacking education, they need to go to school. Those who need employment, they need to get employment. Those who need to even start their own crafts and their own little business, they need such help.
Every 6 minutes, someone is told they're going blind. Leading medical journal Lancet Global Health projects that global blindness will triple by 2050 to 115 million. Okon speaks to these figures as he calls for a paradigm shift in how society views and treats persons with disabilities.
I have not come across a blind person who have become sighted. Unfortunately, I've come across too many sighted people who have become blind. The question then is, why don't you think of making the society a better place? In case it will be that person you know, or even you, because there is nothing that says that it cannot be you tomorrow. So that will not join us in the crying and lamentations that we're going through.
In January 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act. The act criminalizes discrimination against persons with disabilities and requires all public organizations to reserve at least 5% of employment opportunities for these persons. But that law has the challenge of enforcement. As for Cyril Ojimen, he has found a job that pays him 2 times Nigeria's minimum wage, and he plans to retire in the teaching profession. However, many other PWDs are not as lucky. They can be found on the streets, begging for alms to survive, or locked up in homes, hidden by their families for fear of discrimination.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
I was just calm. I just kept calm, like, okay, let's see what's going to happen next. And they were there that night till at about 11 or 12 late in the night. And then they brought a bus. So they packed all of us. The bus was empty, like they had removed everything inside the bus. They made us sit. We sat in the bus and we drove. So we drove for a couple of hours. I can't remember how many hours, but like close to 7 hours. So on daybreak, I saw where we got to was like a house, very big house, gated, fenced and all that. And they just dropped us there and turned back. So I was surprised, like, So for the first time, and I had to ask the 4 ladies, the 3 other ladies that we left together, please, do you guys really know where exactly we are going to? Like, this whole thing is really looking blurry to me and I don't understand anything anymore. And they're like, even them too, they are even confused though. And to crown it up, they asked us not to talk to each other. They asked us not to say anything to each other. I don't understand. So I just looked everywhere and saw that, okay, there are batches and batches of people seated at different corners. Okay, so I really need to ask questions. So at that point, one Alhaji came out, like he's one in charge of that house, and then he did say, okay, let's look for something to eat. All through this while we are not eating,